So, Doctor, the first question I would like to ask you is a simple one. This is your first time here in Brazil. I would like to know the objective of this visit and, of course, your impressions of this country.
You know, before coming here, what I have read about Brazil and what I've seen here during my trip of the past 4 days is different. What is out there and what is on the ground. I think the people are very friendly. The country is so big. I think the economy is going quite well here. I think, the people here, they have a great country. My impression is that this is a very beautiful country, very clean. And, it's different from other countries that I have visited in South America so far.
In terms of negotiation too?
Yes, they're very friendly here. I mean, the officials are very friendly, whom I have engaged up to now. And we have very good dialogue, good conversation, something that we can work together even more between, say, ASEAN and Brazil.
And talking about negotiation and what you, sir, have talked with the government, you have stated that you see scope, you see space for Brazil to be part of this high-level negotiation group of ASEANs. So I would like to know what kind of practical concessions does Brazil actually have to make to be in this group, and which members of this group still offer some kind of resistance, if I can call it like this, of this closer relationship?
Well, in the past 4 years, Brazil has been the sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN. We have 3 levels of partnership. We have dialogue partnership, sectoral dialogue partnership, and development partnership. And in the past 4 years, we have been working together very closely. Brazil is the only country in whether Latin America or South America that has set up a dedicated mission of Brazil to ASEAN, which is separately from bilateral embassy. And of course also appointed a separate ambassador of Brazil to ASEAN. And that's really a clear signal that Brazil and ASEAN are willing to work together through the different arrangements we have, particularly the practical cooperation areas that we have agreed since 2024 to 2028. And last year we had President Lula, who visited 3 out of 11 ASEAN member states. He went to Vietnam, of course, Malaysia and Indonesia, as well as the ASEAN headquarters in Jakarta. So his visit, along with his participation at the 47th ASEAN Summit and related summits, raising the profile and visibility of our partnership to a very high level.
I want to get deeper into this subject. Why do you think President Lula wants to get so close in terms of negotiation? What's better for Brazil? What's better for ASEANs?
Well, ASEAN is the 3rd largest trading bloc in the world. And we have, in the past 59 years now, set up a credible regional organization, what we call ASEAN. And of course, we are almost 700 million people. So the way we have conducted our engagement over the years, we have become a credible regional organization. And I think we want to continue to engage with all the key countries. Now we have 12 dialogue partners, including the United States, China, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Russia, India, and the European Union, as well as UK and Turkey. So right now, of course, Brazil has requested to elevate the partnership to a full dialogue partnership. And I think it's very clear at the political level, I think it's good to engage one another, to support, because we share some of the aspirations, particularly ASEAN is a strong believer in multilateralism and international law. And we have what we call the regional multilateralism. That is very strong for us. And of course, between ASEAN and Brazil, we work on economic cooperation. Now, last year's trade, our bilateral trade almost reached $40 billion US. Started some 10 years ago, now it's increased by around 10-fold already. So trade is growing very fast. And I believe that we have more potential to cooperate between the two sides. So there's a lot of interest that we have between both sides that we can engage each other even more.
And I know ASEAN is very careful when it comes to choosing a partner, when it comes to choosing a high level of negotiation. Do you consider that Brazil do? Brazil does have the right profile for ASEAN not to choose a side, because you were careful not to choose a side. You don't want to show that you were on the side of the story.
Right. We don't choose sides, but we are engaging with partners that we believe that would bring greater cooperation. So we don't choose side, meaning that we don't support a particular policy against the other, but I think we're engaging with partners that may have different policy. So for Brazil, I think we have been able to work together for more than 4 years already in the sectoral partnership. So we understand of each other, I think, increasing more and more. So in that regard is that both sides, I believe, at least I can speak for ASEAN, that for us, our member states have been engaging with Brazil more regularly, because you have a dedicated ambassador in Jakarta, and we have our permanent representatives also based in Jakarta that they engage regularly together, and we have the secretariat. So come back to choosing side, we don't choose side. I think no matter what, I think it's the position ASEAN has never chosen any side at all. But at the same time, that does not mean we do not engage with the different countries that may have different interests.
Now, talking about the time of this process, of this Brazilian request to be a high-level negotiator, ASEAN's decision-making model requires 100% consensus, 100% agreement among all members, right?
Yes.
Doesn't this unanimity rule risk making the bloc too slow when responding to protectionism, responding to shifts, to changes in this global economy we live in, global economy that walks in the fast lane? It changes very fast and very dangerously.
Yeah. Well, ASEAN as a regional grouping, we make decisions by consensus. Making decision by consensus, sometimes it could be a little slow, but so far, what is important is not about reaching a decision. Of course, reaching a decision is very important, but implementing decision is becoming even more crucial. Once we have a consensus, it's easier to implement the decision. You see, I think at the end of the day, it's all about the actual implementation. So for us right now, with regard to Brazil, it's a request to become a full dialogue partner. As a member state now reviewing, I think we are looking at the requirement, we're looking at the process, and once we have done the assessment, then member state will start discussing. But I would say it's a normal and natural process that we have been doing this. And I think what's important here is that as long that both sides see the value in moving the relations, cooperation, partnership forward, I think that is the key. And for us is that right now, we don't have any dialogue partner countries yet of ASEAN that located in Latin America. So far we don't have yet. But I think the indication from Brazil that it has already, in the past 4 years, from acceding to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in South Asia, which is a code of conduct for interstate relations, which is important, to the establishment of what I call the sectoral dialogue partnership that agreed by the member states of ASEAN. Two, on the side of Brazil, of course, to set up a separate mission of Brazil to ASEAN, and the appointment of a dedicated ambassador. So all is coming at the right time, along with the high-level visit of the president. President Lo's visit to 3 ASEAN member states plus ASEAN headquarters. Now, all of this has come at a very critical moment. And at the same time, Foreign Minister of Brazil already been in the region several times already, and engaging with our foreign ministers through, of course, including the meeting of what we call the trilateral meeting between ASEAN chair, ASEAN secretary, of course, the foreign minister of Brazil. So all of that, I think, coming together, all considered to be milestones as we build up our cooperation.
And sir, you mentioned a situation of critical environment, critical moment, and as if we did not have enough problems that are the United States implementing this ton of tariffs and restricting multilateral trade. I would like to know what kind of products Brazil is going to stop sending to the United States because of the tariffs that are very interesting for ASEAN's community.
Well, I think that is for Brazil to decide between Brazil and the United States. But for us, what we're looking at is that how we can increase trade volume between the two sides. What we can export to Brazil and what Brazil can export to ASEAN. This is very important. Now, of course, at the moment, Brazil has some important commodities, right? I mean, for example, the areas of cooperation we could explore, energy sector is very important, for example. Food, agriculture products, of course, we've seen this already, being important to our member states. And, of course, we can work in many other sectors, including even sports sector, as well, because I think Brazil is doing so well, particularly when it comes to sports sector. I think we're looking at what are our best, what are our strengths that we can, we have to work from strength to strength between ASEAN and Brazil. So it's not about we're competing with other countries and all that. No, we're trying to find what we can do in order to maximize the potentials that existed between the two sides.
And please allow me to look at the long term. Of course, Brazilian agribusiness is highly competitive. We all know that. But yet, ASEAN countries maintain sanitary and tariff barriers, which is natural for a bloc of this size, mainly to protect the meat, to protect the grain producers, for example. So is this bloc willing to ease, to restrict this kind of barriers to exchange long-term security, the food security, for example?
Well, at the moment we are working on the basis of existing arrangements. But we hope in the future that perhaps both sides can looking at possible FTA, right? If member states of ASEAN agree, maybe if we open up the regional comprehensive economic partnership, we're going through the process of accession, which comprising the ASEAN member states plus China, Japan, Korea, also New Zealand. This is already the world's largest FTA that we have, which constitutes about 30% of the global GDP and 30% of the global population. Now, if Brazil can, say, also join, because we do have some countries now that have applied to join the regional comprehensive economic partnership, then I think this is something that will be good for Brazil, I believe. And we have to discuss with all the countries that belong to this arrangement, the OSAP arrangement here. So that's the opportunity also there. I think at the end of the day, we have to look at how we can leverage, maximize, and optimize the opportunity.
And of course, the arrangement is not set up yet, but I'm looking at the future hopefully, that we are going to be part of this group. There are already projections of ASEAN's overtaking the amount of money exchange compared to the United States. United States, Brazil, ASEAN's. But for this to happen, for ASEAN's to overtake the United States, there is a little something that needs to be improved, a little detail, which is logistics. Right, we have to improve this barrier of logistics. So are funds from countries like Singapore, for example, planning to invest directly in Brazilians' ports, Brazilians' railways to secure their supply routes in the long term? Do you see that happening?
Well, I think, you know what, we should not talk about just trade only. We should talk about investment, two-way investment on both sides. I understand the Philippines have been investing quite a bit already here. I'm sure Singapore as well and others. But also, besides trade investment, maybe even cooperate in tourism. Tourism sector in ASEAN last year, we reached almost 150 million tourists. Tourists arrive, international arrivals in ASEAN. Now here in Brazil, I understand only 10 million. So I'm sure there's a lot of potential. So, and then maybe connectivity between the two sides. Yes, logistics is very important, but we need to increase connectivity. Of course, could be port-to-port connectivity, right? Air connectivity, of course, goes through. It's a long distance, but as long there is commitment, as long there is economic interest and viability, then this can pick up even more. Like I said, now we have roughly almost 40 billion US dollars of trade in comparison with others. For example, between ASEAN and China, the trade already exceeded $1 trillion US dollars. So for Brazil, I think for the two sides, I think we should look at how to increase our economic cooperation in the direction that we believe that I think it's important for both sides to take advantage of the growing opportunity.
You, sir, touched in a very important weakness of this debate we're having here. You correctly pointed out, which is we only talk about trades when it comes to these kind of partnerships, but there are many things beyond, such as partnerships in sports, in education,
yes,
and etc., in health.
Yes.
Can we get deep into that? For example, education. Is ASEAN opening doors for Brazilians to have a better university, a better education, specialization? How is it going to work in the plans for the long term, in terms of health to sports to?
Well, I understand that roughly what I heard that 20,000 students from Brazil study in Australia. Is that right? In ASEAN, we have a number of universities too. So I think we have to open the door under what we call people-to-people exchanges. So it could be students, could be joint research, could be tourism, as just mentioned. There's many possibilities. And that's why I believe the two sides and I explore what more we can do together. And if we were to elevate the partnership to $2 partnership, meaning we will open more door for cooperation and for partnership, high-level partnership. Yes.
Talking about the U.S. tariffs again, because it dominates the news, the scenario in general. How can Brazil and ASEAN build a trade bridge without raising the suspicions of transshipment, the suspicions of triangulation of Chinese goods, for example? This is something of debate too.
Well, I mean, people who are in the trade sector, they know very well all the rules and regulations, right? Because all of this have come up already. But I'm sure in the negotiation that you have to look at what's possible, what are the challenges, and to address those challenges. I think despite the tariffs, trade continues to grow. You see? And I think that's important for us because ASEAN is all about, we focus a lot on open trade, on rule-based. And we still believe strongly in the WTO. So we have to, because we believe that WTO is the core that we all should We may not like everything, but if we don't like about WTO, we should reform. But I think at the end of the day, we have to support a rule-based, open multilateral trading system with WTO at its core. I think that's important for us. I'm sure Brazil support that. For us, we support that very much.
Okay, so now talking about the war in the Middle East, it's something that bothers the market and normal people's lives. Let's say like this, because we have a crisis of the giving of petroleum worldwide because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Do you see the Brazilian oils, the biofuels, serving as a safeguard to Asians during this Middle East crisis?
Well, the impact could be felt in the ASEAN member states, of course, with different degrees. And that's why our leaders have already met and discussed at the 40 ASEAN Summit in Cebu, the Philippines. And of course, they came out with more decisions how to respond to the impact of the energy crisis in the short term, medium, long term. And that's why we're pushing ahead very hard on the operationalize of the ASEAN power grid to make sure that we move energy from certain parts of ASEAN that have the surplus of energy, particularly renewable energy, into other parts. At the same time, looking at now we're doing a study to look at the ASEAN regional oil reserve, for example. This is something we need to study very closely to see what are the existing oil refineries and what more can be done, for example. But I think for Brazil, what is important is that we need to diversify our energy sources, right? So Brazil is also an energy-producing nation. So I think that's an area we have to explore what we can do together in terms of the energy supply and energy demand on both sides. Of course, I understand that here, what I learned to my surprise is that Brazil has been producing a lot of ethanol, particularly sugarcane ethanol. Wow, it was so incredible. So that is something that we need to look very closely, how we can cooperate together. Because at the end of the day, we cannot continue to rely in a particular region as the only source of energy. So I think for us, we have to diversify the sources of energy for the long-term future.
You're right. Brazil is the second biggest producer of ethanol worldwide, behind only the United States. That's right. And do you think these tariffs eventually, they are an evil, of course, but do you think they eventually will become something good for the economy worldwide because of diversification that the countries are obliged to make?
Well, there's a saying that what does not kill you will make you stronger. So I think this is the key that we must learn to adapt and to strengthen ourselves in the long term. And I think we have to build more partnership across oceans. I think that's important for us, that we have shared interests. Our shared interest is that we must work together to enhance economic cooperation and, of course, also enhance our political dialogue as well.